The following is a Tumblr post by Tumblr user @Neurolove, posted on February 27th, 2012. The author cites Koenigsegg Grafman J. 2009. The functional neuroanatomy of depression distinct roles for ventromedial and dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. The post is enlightening as to the nature of the dlPFC and vmPFC in relation to the roles they play in depression. Here is the post.
Depression and vmPFC dlPFC. As promised, I am moving towards bigger picture information about depression, discussing two key areas of the brain that seem to be involved from functional studies, the vmPFC and dlPFC. The ventromedial prefrontal cortex vmPFC, shown in red in the figure, is heavily involved in emotional processing and regulation. The vmPFC has connections to the hypothalamus and the periaqueductal gray area, which can regulate bodily reactions to emotions. Also, the amygdala, which, as I have mentioned before, is involved in fear and threat detection, and the ventral striatum nucleus accumbens, which you might remember from the basal ganglia circuitry as being a key component of the affective emotional loop, as well as in reward and motivation. In depression, the vmPFC seems to be hyperactive, which means that it is doing too much. This means that vmPFC might be creating too much negative emotions through connections with the amygdala and hypothalamus. Alternatively, another theory is that the vmPFC might be involved in self-insight or self-reflection, and depression might be causing too much of that. Regardless, it is clear that the vmPFC plays a critical role in emotional regulation and, thus, depression. The dorsolateral prefrontal cortex dlPFC, shown in blue above, is primarily associated with cognition and executive functions. For instance, when you are doing work or homework, you are using a lot of your dlPFC. It is much more driven by reason than by emotion. In depression, the dlPFC is hypoactive, which is to say that it is not firing as much as it should be. Some studies suggest that the dlPFC is used in suppression regulation of negative emotions, and the lowered activity impairs its ability to decrease negative emotions.